Hey guys, what's up? One Punch and Done here. So, Coach and I are back podcasting. With this podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about everything card games, tabletop games, etc. etc. Fun stuff. This is something we would like to do going forward because me and Coach tend to have pretty fiery conversations, and well, because we vibe so well. And hopefully, you feel the same way. The goal is to get one of these out a week, but you know how it goes sometimes. Life is it's a funny thing, and sometimes, unfortunately, it gets pretty complicated from time to time. But that is our goal. So, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, please, and we would really appreciate it. As always, like I said, like, comment, give us some motivation, will ya? I also would like to preemptively apologize because when we recorded this, I had just woken up and I was not in the mindset to have a deep conversation. Hopefully, I get better at that because, yikes. Okay, enjoy the show. Toodles.
This is a long time, not really a hugely long time coming, but this is a coach, everybody. He is somebody who used to podcast with me when we were playing Star Wars Unlimited, and I don't know if we're gonna make any promises going forward with this channel. I would love to obviously do this stuff all the time, but between his schedule and mine, it's been so hard to like link up and keep things consistent that this just getting one out once in a while will make me happy, and I hope it makes you happy too. Coach, you want to say hi to everybody? I mean,
Hello, everybody. I'm back again.
for those who don't know, why, real quick, Mr. Longwind. By the way, I was watching, I was listening to our first podcast ever, which wasn't originally meant to be a podcast. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was like, this is really good. That very first one that we did, that was like 2 hours.
Yeah,
I really
a lot of
liked
people like that one.
That
They
is
were
it.
like, "Wow, this is a long one," and I think they got to know us and
Yeah,
listen to the game.
I feel like if we kept that going, we would have made it, baby. We'd make at least $40 a week by now.
at least, at least half a deck or half a booster box.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, why do we, real quick, why do we call you Coach? Why is that your name?
People call me coach because I coach competitive games, and I'm very smart about competitive games and tactical strategy type games. I mostly coach Warhammer 40,000 right now, some trading card games. I originally put that as my name because I was coaching League of Legends pretty much like as a profession. So that's why my name is Coach.
And you're humble too.
Yeah, mostly. You know, some people like to think I'm not humble.
No, you're
But
so humble, dude. I was rewatching our first podcast, and you basically, you're like, I had a college level understanding of mathematics when I was in first grade. And
oh
I was
yeah,
like, this guy. And I thought I had a pretty good joke in there too. I was like, and now that you're out of college, you have the understanding of a first grader.
yeah, that's pretty much how it is. That's a good thing, you know, that speaks to my going back to the fundamentals. Doesn't matter.
Going
Always
back
go
to the
back
fundamentals.
always go back to the first grade. It's most important, teaching you all that stuff you learned.
I agree.
Which I believe I did talk about in that podcast. I was like, you gotta go back and they teach you all those things like for a reason when you're growing up. So you can actually become a fully fledged human being and provide.
You gotta learn to crawl before you can walk, generally speaking, I think. So missing those important steps, those fundamentals to build upon, is, I mean, look at the generation we're dealing with currently. Very hard to look out and see how the reading level is so poor, mathematics is so poor. It's just, hopefully we don't blow ourselves up. But let's not make this about depressing things. We want to talk about what they want to listen to, and that's games, because games kind of take us out of politics for a little bit and the troubles that are going on in our world currently, and they help us to relax and play with our buddies and just enjoy some competition, socializing, and all those things that nerds are bad at doing.
Yes, away from our wives.
So a few things. Gundam just came out. The new Gundam card game just released. Actually, a lot of card games just released. I know there's a Godzilla game that just came out too, just released. Not into it. We're not going to be talking about it, but I did want to mention that. And a cookie. I have no idea what it's called, but it's got to do with cookies. Somebody who's watching this, please leave a comment if possible and let me know what game I'm talking about right now. We're not going to talk about those games, but Gundam in particular is a very, very, very popular IP. Coach had you were at locals, I believe, right? And attending, and you said your locals maxed out a Gundam. Was it a tournament? Was it the pre-release? Like, what was it?
It was like I think it was like the booster boxes that just came into the store just yesterday. So I think it was like a booster event where like people just came in to play the game and to buy a bunch of boosters and try everything out. Because we already had the store already had last week had a like starter deck event. And so after that event, the booster boxes just rolled in. So I think it was just a come in and play event, but there was booster boxes. So it was kind of like a pre-release of the booster box event going on, and it was like sold out almost. Like there was 15 out of 18 people, and you know some of the people haven't went out again, like today, or either to the same store to play, or they went out like to a different store who were hosting an event for Gundam as well, out of the city.
Yeah, it's nice to see people get into whatever it is that they're into. I mean, I like seeing a lot of hype around the game. It just makes me feel good. I don't know why, even if I'm not into it. I like the idea of it. But I think we both I have very, very limited experience with the game. Obviously, I'm familiar with the IP, but the card game I've only played one time. Have you played it before?
I haven't played it, but I've seen plenty of videos because I was going to play it, but there's just not enough there for me at the moment to go into it. Besides the fact that Wing Gundam's my favorite, it's the 30th anniversary for Gundam Wing, and I really want to spend $3,000 maxing out my Gundam Wing deck, which was in my cart today from 401 Games, and I chose not to click the checkout button.
Jesus, what was it? A 3,000?
I was gonna spend $3,000 buying out all the like alternate art foil Gundam deck day one.
That's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna get into it. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if it's like a jealousy thing, maybe because like maybe it is that there are people out there who can afford to spend all this money. I'm not one of them. And maybe I made a bunch of poor choices in life or something that got me to the point where I'm every paycheck counts and I got to use my money very wisely. I have been married for 8 years now, and as far as we get by, but we have to spend our money wisely. So there'd never be a conversation where I'm like, hey honey, I'm gonna drop 3K on some cards. That's not happening. And generally speaking, even if I wasn't married and I lived by myself, I don't know if that's a conversation I can even have with myself. That said, I know people do it and they enjoy it, and it's a very big part of the hobby for them. But it's not really for me. I like the game. I like the gameplay, which is also why I got into Union Arena, is because I think what they did with their card game was very smart in having every card readily available, but just changing for as far as chase cards go. They put all art versions of cards that are normally like 30 cents or $1. They just took those cards, changed the art on them, and did some cool stuff with those. Those cards are worth sometimes $100 plus. And so if you really want to max out your deck, that's awesome. It's going to cost you a lot of money if you want to do that, but you can also play the game at bare bones just by getting the regular versions of those cards. I'm not sure I'm not sure how Gundam's doing price wise. Like, have you seen the cards? Like, have they are there cards that are like $300 for just like a legendary or something?
There's like no actual like legendary really. Like there are legendary cards like harder to get. Like Gundam Wing is like a harder version to get, but everything's like pretty cheap. There's no like super expensive $600 card or anything like that. It's just the alternate arts that are expensive. So I think the most expensive card is around like maybe 50, 40, $30 Canadian. So that's like, you know, maybe 40 USD is like the most expensive card. You can run 4 of each copies, so you might want to buy 4 of those. It is day 1, so I assume the prices will go down. So it's not that expensive, but maxing out your rarities is going to be definitely expensive.
Whoa, I'm looking at Gundam Aerial R plus. Looks like the chase. It's a pretty cool looking card. 7 right now. It's on TCG Player. For the market price is $923.
Yeah,
The thing is
it's
currently sold. There's one is being sold right now for 700. What does it do? While there are 4 or more command cards in your trash, this card in your hand gets cost -2. The cost is already 3, so it would cost you 1, and it's got a 5 on top, which means I believe you need 5 energy or whatever, level 5 or whatever it is.
Yep.
So that means you at least need 5 in play, and it's a 1 and it's a 3/3. Art is pretty cool though. It looks like a church window.
Yes, that specific art you're probably looking at. There's one for all the Gundams basically, but those are like the really, really like those are like the signed signature anime cards essentially that you'll get like one in a case or like even rarer. So if you pull one of those, they're like $1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like the not the alternate art, but that's like the alternate art.
Yeah, and that's fine. If there's a version of that card that's like 20 cents, that's the way to do it. Like, don't, like, I remember when Star Wars Unlimited, you know, the Vader card, if you wanted a set of Vaders, like at one point it was $100+. It's 150, I believe, at its max. So you're paying $450 to max out 3 Darth Vaders, and it's like, come on, man. Like, I don't know who's got the money to just blow on that stuff. I know it's out there. I know there's a market for it. I just, maybe, like I said, maybe I'm jealous that people can do it and afford it, and maybe they're better with their money than me. I don't know what it is, but it's like there was no Darth Vader regular base looking normal card that I can spend $5 on and put that card in my deck. If I wanted to play competitively, I needed to break the bank. And for me, there's never a good time to do that. But I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's just sour grapes.
I think it's sour grapes. I think you need to get some
It might
sweet
be.
grape or something.
Yeah.
Some, you know, some.
So, okay. Gundam's cool. Maybe we'll talk about Gundam another time. I definitely want to see how the competitive scene goes. I know my locals was very excited for it. I haven't been there since this game released, so I don't really know any hype around any of the cards, but I'm sure, as I like to stick my nose where people are playing games and sniff out, hey, you know, what's going on? What's the deck everyone's running? Even if I'm not into the card game, I get interested in that
I
stuff.
just want to comment on Gundam for like our viewers, listeners, that I am interested in the IP as most people are. The one thing I really hope, if you're out there, like my local community, if you're listening to this and you're gonna go out, buy the boxes, start playing Gundam, like, you know, yesterday we had a full house pretty much. We're probably gonna have this month go well. Don't stop showing up and playing at your local communities, because that's how this game, Gundam game, will literally die out really quickly. And I've seen that happen with like Star Wars and other games where if you just go out and buy the boxes and you stop showing up to buy more packs or even just to play, don't even buy boosters, just to play the game and are not involved, like the game will die out. So as someone like me who I can invest $3,000 if I want to max out something, or even like a couple $100 just to get a good deck and play the game, I just won't do that because I know in 2-3 months time, maybe even 6 months max, like half of the player base, if not more, will just disappear, and then I'll be showing up with like my brother to play against the same 3-4 people over and over again. And I really don't want that to happen. It's something that like I really enjoy because I do want to put my Gundam Wing on the table and like play it and have fun. So yeah, definitely keep going out there and keep being interested. That's basically what the players who might be interested in this game that just got released want. And like, I'm holding myself back until I can see that there's going to be longevity in the player base sticking around.
All right, you heard it here first. Don't stop playing Gundam.
Yes. Don't stop believing in Gundam.
Don't stop. So, to move it along here, Coach really has, as long as I've known him for, and it's over a year now, right? Man, we've known each other for a little over a year and a half, maybe.
Whenever Star Wars Unlimited basically came out,
And
I
then
would
there was
say.
like 3 weeks before that. Before our first podcast, we had been talking and chatting. I think I met you in the Discord for SWO, and
Yeah, everybody did me at that Discord.
yeah, exactly. You have been a Warhammer player, but recently you reached out to me and said, "Hey, there's this new game I'm really into, and it's called Ember Obsidian Protocol." And I was like, "Cool, I'm happy for you that you have a new game or whatever." And then you showed me a video that showed it's like magnetized minis, so it's not. I don't know. I think, was it like basically when you made minis in Warhammer, are you gluing them? Like, it's a crafts thing, right? Like you're like putting them together via like glue. You got to stick them together and paint them and stuff, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
And then so in this one they're like magnetized, and I guess the game itself is pretty cool. Or do you want to try to generate any interest in the game, or tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so Ember Obsidian Protocol, if you like Gundam, if you like Mecha, if you like Armored Core, this game I saw, it was basically a Kickstarter. It's extremely, extremely new. Your hobby stores probably don't even have it. You probably have to like either ask your hobby store to see if your community wants to be interested in it. And, look at videos. There's almost no gameplay videos online. It's a Chinese company pretty much. And this game, you build the models the same way you would build a Gunpla kit or Warhammer, except you have to use glue to put it together. And the way the game goes about is you get to fully customize your basically your miniature by having all the parts being magnetized, and the boxes come with magnets, and the parts already have positions where the magnets would go, and it tell you to insert the magnets this way. And so it's very clean like that, which I wish Warhammer was. And then once you're finished building all these pieces and models, you can basically swap out the left arm, the right arm to whatever you want, the legs, the torso, the backpack, and the pilot even. And then they all have abilities. And there's like basically 3 factions at the moment. So I just got into this game. It was about $330 Canadian to buy out everything that's out there for one particular faction right now. So 330 Canadian dollars is not that much for me to own every single possible option for a faction. And they're gonna be releasing more, obviously, but right now it's like really, really not that expensive. And having the ability to just basically own so many models. I think I got 10 miniatures now. It's about the size of maybe a hobby grade Gundam, like slightly less than that, up to like the arms, not the arms, the shoulders of a hobby grade Gundam, I would say is the size of the models. And then you can just basically replace the arms, fully customize your army, and then you basically play against your opponent. And it's a really quick game. It takes only 45 to an hour to play the mission, and it's really fast, easy to learn. There's dice involved, and it goes by really, really quickly. It's a turn by turn. There's a whole system to it, and I highly recommend you check it out. There are some videos on YouTube of just, this one particular person putting together shorts of putting his Gundams together and his mechs, and showing you how like everything Magnus clicks on and the painting of it.
Listen, I'm not obviously as well versed as you in minis, but you want to tell us a little bit about the gameplay itself?
So the gameplay, so you pretty much build your list, which is the parts you want, and you build your model. Then you take a couple of them, you end up with about 4 to 5 different mechs, and then it's kind of like a skirmish game. So you put it on the table. There's these like you play on a rectangle or square board, and I believe it's like 4x4 pretty much, typical skirmish game. And after that, you pretty much take turns, and the way you go about it is each of your pilots has a dial, and you change the dial to a number, and then at the beginning of the round, once both players have put their dials hiddenly, like the way they want for each of their mechs, you would basically start the round and you would reveal your dials, and it goes by phase. So there's like movement phase, melee phase, charge phase, so on. And the very cool thing about once you start playing the game is that it really does feel like you're playing Armored Core, where your mechs are moving swiftly back, left, and right. They're going through debris and they're shooting at each other in close combat and shooting, and being backed up by their other mechs. And there's a lot of like back and forth, non-stop action. It's 5 rounds, goes by pretty quickly. I think a round probably takes about 10 minutes, and you're basically through it. After 5 rounds, the game ends. So if you're looking for a very fast-paced game, something that is customizable completely, and is just starting, and maybe some of your like friends or your local community wants to get into it as well, it's out there right now. And I really do recommend like getting into it, because even if you don't like playing a lot, the models are good. The build quality is pretty solid, and it offers you something to like paint and build, and it's, to be honest, like not that expensive to get 10 full miniatures and multiple different parts.
So we're looking. I'm looking forward here to see how that game progresses and what you do with it. Keep me posted, obviously. So if anything, I don't know if you haven't played it in person yet. I take it because it's so new.
It's we could play it in person. I haven't been to my local store to play it in person,
Hmm.
but I played on TTS. There is a TTS for it, so if you guys that own TTS out there can try it out. Ember Obsidian Protocol, and then in person, it's the same thing. I've seen it being played, and I wanted to play in person. I just don't own the square layout to play it on yet, because I'm waiting to get the mat in.
Okay.
Also, it took me like, I just got it last Sunday, so we just finished building the models like yesterday.
Who's we?
Me and my brother just built basically 10 uh, full models, and it pretty much takes an hour per model, so you pretty much spend like 10 hours plus all the extra bits.
Okay. Wow. Jeez. All right. Well, look forward to seeing how this develops. Keep us posted.
Yep.
Last thing on the list on the agenda for today is Riftbound has been getting very popular. The League of Legends card game that is due out at the end, I believe, August in China. Or no. Is it out now? I'm so bad at
I
this.
think it's coming out for everybody. I don't even know, actually. I've been so busy.
Well, it is going to be coming out in October.
Yep.
In the West, and we've played a little bit of it. Actually, me and Coach. Actually, I made a video. It is private. Nobody other than people I know closely have seen this video, but it was a fully edited video. I'll put a little bit of that like going on the overlay right now if you're watching this on YouTube. But it's not. It wasn't something I really ended up wanting to put up because me and you were making so many mistakes in there, and I was also trying to explain why we were making those mistakes. It ended up being like a cool video, but not one that I'd actually want to put on my channel. And I also didn't. I hated my commentary over everything that was happening also. So we didn't end up going through with that. But me and Coach have a little bit of we kind of found the game at the same time. Funny enough, I found the game, and as I was hitting up Coach, oh, there's a Riftbound game, we should try it. I looked at a message he had already sent me the previous night, and he was like, League of Legends card game, and I was like, oh my god, that's why I was about to reach out to you. And so we played a couple games. We didn't really know what we were doing at first, but it's so broke ass. We actually watched on TTS. We took the iPad thing and put it on the table and watched the YouTube tutorial on the iPad just to figure out what was going on in the game. Before we get into actually, I'll just say this. All the cards have been released. At the time that me and Coach recorded, it was pretty much just a trial decks and maybe a couple cards, but so Jinx, Victor, Volibear, and Yasuo. and we played a little bit of everybody. But you know, obviously the decks aren't fully, you know, they're not fully realized because there's so many different cards that were still needed to be revealed that actually could make each of those heroes stronger. Now, Coach, I don't know if you realized this, but you haven't really seen a lot of the new cards, I think, right? Because you've been busy.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up to date with the new stuff for like 2 weeks.
So, do you remember the one deck when we were playing that, like, just kind of sucked?
Volibear, yeah.
So, Volibear is actually a very powerful deck right now. And it's because this one card came out called Dazzling Aurora. And essentially it says at the end of your turn, reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal a unit, put that unit into play. And you just play it for free. And the thing with Volibear is he wants to play nothing but big dudes, right? So the idea with Volibear is ramp, get to your turn where you can play Dazzling, get it out there, and overwhelm your opponent with just so many big guys they can't do anything about it. And it's very effective. It's actually got a lot of people behind it, and that when that card was released, it kind of put Volibear on the map. And I'd be very interested to see, because I haven't actually played with that deck or even against it, but I'm very curious to see how that deck functions. But it was funny because when we were playing Volibear, it was very weak when we were playing the trial decks because of how control-y Victor was. He had all the tools to just get rid of stuff. We were trying so hard to get to a turn where you can play something in Volibear because everything was expensive, and then Victor would just call the weak, and both people have to choose a unit and destroy it. So no matter how big the guy is, he's dead. And it was just kind of ass, while Victor just swarms the board with little dudes and wins, and basically was the way we were playing. But all the cards have been released. I think the game is in a really good state right now. I think as far as balancing goes, I'm not seeing any huge issues. Obviously there's weaker heroes. Some heroes are legends, I should say. Some legends are just naturally better. They have a better toolbox. I'm not seeing a lot of Yasuo players, for instance, but Victor gets a lot of Victor gets a lot of play. So does Ari. Ari gets a lot of play, and Master Yi has his legend was announced sometime after you and I had stopped playing together, but Master Yi gets a lot, and he's just really unfair. I don't know. I know you don't know a lot about the colors, but green is basically just like protect. It's just like play cards that counter your opponent. I want to say it's like almost like blue in Magic, and anything that likes to counter or defend your guys, it buffs it, not buffs, but it protects your units. There's a lot of things in green that give your units like extra might to avoid dying from stuff that deals damage, or there's like counter spells. There's one of the most broken cards, which is Charm, that just says like move a unit to this location, and it's pseudo removal because it costs only 1, and if you have like a big dude in on a battlefield and your opponent's like hiding away in a base, or they're in another a different battlefield, you can just charm them to your battlefield and they can't really do anything about it unless they deny that with a card called Defy, which is also in green. And so it's like pseudo removal. But green has Master Yi is basically says that if any of his units is attacking or defending alone, they get +2 might. So he wants to just go tall, get 1 unit and just protect them, which green is really good at doing. And he's also orange, so he's green-orange. So he has access to Dazzling Aurora, which is a card I was telling you about. And it's just been an interesting watching this kind of like the meta of the decks that have like came out at first to like what it is now, and just watching people creatively go back into into the lab, so to speak, and just recreate their decks with the new cards has been really exciting. Kind of takes me back to like early Lorcana days.
Play Lorcana. Probably never going to play Lorcana. Although I know some people tried to bribe me into playing it just so I could be like, you should play Lorcana so you can go win the chase card at your local event because there's this kids playing. And I was like, no, I'm good.
I'll set up a Lorcana day for me and you.
No, I'm not interested. I'd rather just play Gundam.
That's
Just be like,
why. That's the fact that you're not interested is why it'll be an entertaining video.
oh my god. I'll play my no, I like Bell. I like Bell.
Like
I don't see if I
Bell the
played
card or
Lorcana,
like Bell the character.
the character
Yeah,
and the card.
we all love Bell.
But yeah, I'll probably just be playing Bell for funsies.
In the first Lorcana set, I had a blue gray. You're allowed to choose 2 different colors, and that's it. And I had a blue gray deck, and which was not like by all. It ended up becoming a strong deck like in later sets, but blue gray was for the most part it was not meta defining. You couldn't go to like locals and win with blue gray because there just wasn't enough. Red purple was super popular at that time, which was just heavy control, and you really couldn't do anything with what I had. But Belle anyway was one of the cards. She was like $40 at one point, which again for me is a lot of money on a piece of cardboard. But she had a thing where if you had enough basically mana in play, she quests, which is your win con, which is like you gain points rather than attacking your enemy for game. You quest, and that's how you gain points, and once you have 20 points you win. She quested for 5, which is like 25% of the points that you need to win, which was really strong actually in that game. But the problem is once she's on board, anyone with a half decent understanding of the game, especially when you're facing control decks, just took her out before she even had a chance to do anything, because it was pseudo summoning sickness. They called it the ink is drying, because what Lorcana was all about was was that they're all these their drawings essentially. And you couldn't quest with her right away. There's probably a way to do that now, but I ended up going to my locals, whatever, and just selling my whole deck when I got out of the game, and I actually made back a pretty decent amount of money. Some of my cards actually went up in value. The problem with the blue deck back then is I had removal in there. There were cards like Let It Go, which was it was removal for anything, but the problem is it didn't go to the graveyard. It went to the opponent's mana. Their ink is what it's called. So like, yeah, I would remove a card, but I just ramped them. And that was all my removal, which was so obnoxious because like red, purple, those decks would just remove your card completely and send it to the graveyard. So it's like they didn't do anything good for you, but my removal was like, oh, I'm gonna kill your thing, but here's an ink. Here's an extra mana to kill me with on your next turn. But I guess those cards got a little better. I had a Hades in that deck, and he was really fun to use. But that's what he did. He came out, removed something, put it into their ink, their mana, and then I basically had to just sit and wait for their next turn, as they would probably remove my Hades, and I ramped them up and everything. Anyway, sorry.
Anyways, Mr. Long-Winded, calling me long-winded.
Yes, dude. Lorcana, bro. It was good. So, all right, Coach, real quick, like, let's finish off on this. I just gave my little shtick on Riftbound. What do you think the future of this game holds for, in terms of like design philosophy? Like, is there going to be enough design space essentially with one statistic basically, which is might? It's not attack and defense, so it lessens design space. And how many cards can you print when there's only one stat? You have to essentially make the game more complicated as each set comes out. What do you think? I just like to get your opinion on that.
For anyone who's still listening, thank you. And now I'm going to get into why and what and how and all this stuff about basic game design right now. But basically, so the thing in like so having there's already other games out there that are just send me a message. Okay, it's telling me to fuck off. Okay, so there's basically a new there's a new there's already like you completely threw me off now. Everyone's gonna listen to this and be like, this guy just
I'm
got thrown
sorry.
off because this guy just sent me
I
a big message saying fuck you. Anyways, so yeah, thanks for everybody still listening to this. And now I'm gonna get to game design. And on top of that, there's other games out there that already resolve around only having one attribute of like might, basically, like Japanese games that do it. So I don't think that's the biggest problem. I think that design space can exist. I think the future of this game and like can we still have many things come out of it is yes, because there's already enough complexity in the game at the moment with a lot of stuff going on. So the complexity is like already there. There's enough colors. There's League of Legends has so many champions that you can have like an endless row of them, and then they have signature abilities, so you can always keep adding on signature spells. And eventually, the champion and like what I think would happen is Leona would get her ultimate, her E or something, her passive, and then eventually, once all of her abilities from the video game are unlocked, in the card game, I don't think that champion's gonna get any more like signature cards. I could be wrong about this, but I feel like the champion probably won't. But League of Legends has like 200 champions, so there's a long way before anything changes, and they might even start introducing like alternate um Master Yi's into the game, where they're not just the basic form, but they are a alternate variant, and it's a legend where maybe they're evolved or maybe they're from like a different timeline or something. I don't know. They could do some other spins like that, but hopefully that most of the champions that are very well loved, and in League of Legends, almost every single champion is loved by a big portion of the community. So I think they're gonna get all the champions out there, or a lot of them, and the design space is gonna like basically grow and grow and grow. The problem I see with this game is that there is so in like game design, we want to make a balanced game. We want to have things in the game that are like fun and interactive and this and that. But when it comes to like making a really solid game and making it well balanced and keep introducing new things, there's something where you basically create a card or a game where when something happens or you play this specific card, the player or your opponent feels like impacted by it. So like if I play, let's just say, a card and it's gonna do something ridiculous to the game board or the game state, and my opponent's gonna feel really bad from it. Now they don't want your opponent to feel terrible. That's not what the game creators want, but they really want them to feel like this card was really strong, or this card was really like impactful in this moment, and me playing it really made me feel like something happened. Almost like Barrage this, right? That card when we played in Star Wars, and you would pick a card and do damage, it really felt like you were getting barrage and killing everything, and it was really strong, even though it
I
was just a
I
common.
love that you called it Barrage Sis. That was the name of our podcast. It
So
was
yeah,
overwhelming Barrage though, yeah.
overwhelming barrage. Anyway, so yeah, overwhelming barrage, right? So that card right there, um, that's like that's where I'm like really scared, because there is a place where the creators of this game can say, we're gonna make so much money off of this game because the IP is there, the player base is there, everything is there, it's gonna be huge, and people will buy this like they buy Pokemon. Pokemon sells the most, not because people play it, but because people just want Pokemon and all the kids play it. Actually collect it. And so with League of Legends, it might turn into the same thing where they're actually going after Pokemon in terms of, we want to steal the Pokemon like collectible card base and take all their money from them and make people start collecting League of Legends instead, because the IP is so big that it could overtake that IP in terms of like, or steal a lot of customer base from it. And that's fine, but the big thing competitively that I don't like is they start printing cards that are made to be, this feels really good to play, this is really powerful, and they don't care about balance as much. And we can see this based off of their system. that goes into the whole like, if you have more points, this happens. If you have less points, this becomes stronger, and it's really, really based off the win condition of the game. And anything that says or is based off of the win condition of the game, and in League of Legends, you kind of gain more and more points. And the more points you have, some cards do way, way, way stronger effects. Or if you're losing on points, they have a additional like really powerful effect, or they can potentially even give you more points to kind of finish the game off or win the game. And when you have that type of like game mechanic, I am like, and they keep printing new cards, like as we saw, like Vayne, and like there's multiple cards now that play off of that, and there's gonna be a lot more in the future, I'm sure of it, and they're all like really powerful. And I don't want the next card to come out and the next card to come out to just be like basically negating all the old cards and being even more powerful, even more powerful, even more game breaking, and they don't really care about game balance too much because they feel like that the fun of the game and the power of the card and how good it feels to play it or how impactful it is can dip over like what's balanced and go into like the more, you know, too strong, and still be a healthy choice by them because it makes them a lot of money by selling the card. And number two, it basically provides a player base like, oh my god, I got a really, really nice card, and now my Jinx Rocket or Leona Ultimate or whatever it is does something really crazy, and I feel really good about playing it. So I'm gonna keep playing my hero. And they want you to play your hero or multiple heroes and have fun with it, but it's not going to be as balanced as you might want a competitive game to be, and it's going to really degrade the value of other cards that might be good now but are going to become a lot worse in the future. um that's my take on what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, and that's pretty much why I wanted to get your opinion on it, because I feel like you really think about things that I wouldn't ordinarily like even have even come to my mind. So yeah, there's a lot of, I think there is I think this game has its definite target audience. It's gonna need to overcome you know, power creep. It's gonna need to overcome some big hurdles to stay alive. Initial excitement is always like, obviously, like tenfold of what the game is gonna stay as. I know, like I said, I'm not gonna go into Arcana, but like the hype around that game was huge, and now there's literally no locals at my locals. Like, they don't even play it anymore. So, I mean, it's gonna need to survive that. The exhaust of design, like design exhaust, like when Digimon came out, very simple game. I don't even know what it is now. I don't know if you know anything about the card game itself. It was a very simple game where you had this basically like a pendulum of energy. When you used all of your energy up and it went to your opponent's, it went to your opponent's side. They now start their turn with however much energy you basically gave them. So if you played a really powerful card, you'd give them a bunch of energy to play on their turn, and it was a great like equalizer of playing cards. And if you made them too powerful, you gave your opponent a better turn, etc. The game now is just like unrecognizable. There's too much going on. I'm talking, it's harder to follow that game than it is to follow Magic. But you know what? Still has a huge player base. But to make that game, to continue to make cards for it, they had to make the game more complex. And because Digimon is such a well-known IP, it still has its fans and people that are readily gonna still keep buy the cards and keep it going. So League is gonna have to overcome a lot of hurdles to stay relevant and alive. But as of right now, the game is super fun, very, very friendly to newcomers, I think, and they have a great Discord for it with a bunch of people who are like willing to teach whoever how to play. A lot of people are streaming the game at any given time of day. I mean, honestly, I woke up one time, went to the bathroom. I looked at the Discord just for no reason, and there were like 2 people streaming it. It's like 3 in the morning. Obviously, could have been a different time for them, but the fact that no matter what time I look at my phone or Discord, you could find people playing the game and possibly streaming it or whatever. So it's got a lot of hype around it right now. I'm really excited to see how the game continues to develop. But
Coach, do you have anything you'd like to add before?
Yeah, the only scary thing is, I think that legal Riot found out that online card games are good and all, but they don't work the same way that they do in real life. And I think one of the biggest reasons for that is I can get like, let's say there's $1,000 card, right? That would never be $1,000 online, but it would be $1,000 card in person. If you play the League of Legends, like, their TCG game that they had, um, on their launcher or whatever it was called. I completely forget what it's called now. But if you play their TCG, almost like Hearthstone, you can buy all the cards, you can make the best deck, and so on. The issue became that if the game wasn't good or wasn't good enough, people would stop being interested in it because the cards that they unlock don't hold value and they're not worth anything. They cannot resell them for like real life money. The thing about this game is that's going to be in cardboard, so the card's going to hold value and be worth like hundreds of dollars, $1,000, and that's what's going to be the driving force mostly behind it. And my personal opinion, I don't think this is a game like, I think it's gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be lots of complexity. I think it's gonna be pushed from Riot to be a competitive game, and also it's made to be a casual like multiplayer format like Commander. So it's gonna be seeing a lot of play, especially locally. You can just show up, play with a bunch of people together, and have fun. But I'm really scared that, their first game flopped like essentially immediately, and this is a cardboard game. So if this game, the only reason that it's not gonna die off is because the cards are like really expensive for the chase cards. And I think overall the game's not gonna be that expensive, but there's cards that like me and you were concerned about, of like the token cards that, or the generator cards that come in and you can tap them and they're legendary. And so if I'm opening up booster packs and I get one of these and it's a legendary card and it's worth like $100 and I need 2 or 3 of them in my deck to be able to play it, or I keep opening more of them and this legendary card is basically going to go down in cost like significantly because there's so many of them out there that no one cares about these things anymore, which is a good thing but also a bad thing because at that point, we're not going to be getting as many expensive cards, or there's going to be, or Riot already knows this and they're going to be releasing more of those in booster packs than other cards, and eventually we're going to be sitting around being like, well, the game isn't that well balanced or that fun, but the IP is really big, the cards are worth money, and so people keep buying more and more and more, just like Pokemon, and the game might not be that good, and they might even change the game like they did with Digimon or their online game, and basically change the game completely in a few years that we don't even recognize it as what it is now. And because it's been evolved or changed completely, like maybe in the might system or something along those lines, where they start introducing cards that have like might but a second like stat next to it for some reason, I don't know. And all of a sudden like the game changes, there's like, cards that might combine cards together to create a new card, I don't know. But doing all these things and the game might be unrecognizable, but the value of the cards will be really high and stay, and that might be the driving force of this because it's a huge IP, and I don't want this game to become something that is much more of a casual show up and play and have fun, and then the competitive side just drifts away, kind of like how it did with Magic the Gathering being Commander, and how it did with any of the online games, the cards having no value, and the people that are making the game don't care about making the game good. They only care about, hey, let's design the new heroes, and the new heroes are going to be way more powerful than the old heroes, and then there's no point playing the old heroes because the new heroes do everything better, and so they kind of have to keep evolving too quickly. I think the beauty of Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, back in the day, was that when they needed to evolve, it came at a time of like after 5 to 7 years, something along those lines, and then they would evolve like with really carefully and well thought out, like well years in advance, knowing that, hey, we need to evolve our game somehow. How are we going to do it? And it's got to be perfect and not ruin the game, not make cards completely, useless or unplayable, and keep pushing the game forward. Maybe how Digimon did it. I'm not sure about that game, but that could be something that they did, saying that, hey, we started down here, we're gonna keep pushing forward, but keep the cards and the game balanced enough that people's like time and money isn't wasted. and that the game doesn't just become, oh, buy the newest thing and it's going to be the best thing ever.
But only time will tell, dear coach. Only time will tell, and hopefully they don't mess it up. I guess we'll finish on this point. If the game isn't super expensive, I already heard it from a bunch of people. I showed this game to people at my locals. Everyone really likes it. Like, not one person that I played this game with said that it's bad or I don't like that. Like, everyone was like, oh, this game's fantastic. And then the inevitably is like, I play too much stuff right now to get into it. It's like, okay, that's fine. Like, you know, I'm not sitting here trying to sell anybody on anything. But I think
It's designed to be multiplayer and for fun, and for everybody to get into it, and newcomers, and to really enjoy just coming down, playing the game, and no one feels like they're getting destroyed. The cards should be accessible for everybody, and the deck should not be that expensive. Kind of like Star Wars at the get-go, like the starter deck should be covering most of the stuff, and then you kind of upgrade it as you wish. And there's only so many cards that you can fit into your deck, unlike other card games where you can have, you know, all the cards in one deck. You are stuck to your colors of your champions, and you know, you're putting in your own champion into your deck. So the decks are also not 60 cards, only 40 cards, I believe. So your deck is a lot similar to.
yeah, and it's just gonna be, like I said, I think it's gonna come down to how expensive these cards get. I don't think it'd be very wise to just make this. I see people are willing to just spend a lot of bread on it already. You're gonna have a player base that's willing to do that, but make it as expansive as possible. Don't let people have to, again, I go back to Union Arena because it's such a great example of, if you want people to get into your game, then make a great opening point. You know, like, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg just to buy a deck. I can go to my locals, you know, it's on Tuesday. I can go there on a Tuesday with a deck that cost me $20, and if I play it right, I can come in first place. You can't do that in Yu-Gi-Oh! You're not going to be able to do that in Gundam. I hope. I'm sure this game isn't going to be that, to be completely honest. Like, I'm a realist. League of Legends card game, I mean, it's going to be like hundreds of dollar decks. Let's just be real. Let's put the writing on the wall already. We already know that. Hopefully that doesn't kill this game. But if it does, again, it's like the entry level to play. There are people who are playing card games they've been playing those games for years. You got to take them away from those games, and you're also the market is being kind of flooded right now with like all different shit. Like I said, Godzilla got its own card game. God help us. I have no idea what that even is, but it's out there. You got to fight all these other. You got to fight for the attention. But that is something for another time. And with that, we'll conclude one of our podcasts. Coach, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and hang out. And I hope everybody watching, if you guys really appreciate comments, it will give us, I think, a little bit of the motivation to continue to make these. Because if we're just talking to each other,